Go.
Good morning, world. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, you are listening and participating in Impact, the Leadership Huddle. My good friend and business partner, Giovanni Gonzalez, and I are your co hosts. Good morning, Gio.
Morning.
Yeah, and we traffic in this world. We make a promise to simply bring unique leadership perspectives to everyday challenges faced by everyday entrepreneurs like you and me and everyday human beings. So today is no exception. Gio and I have a wonderful guest, Dr. Mardoche Sidor. I'll take a moment to introduce him formally, but I know Mardoche really well, so I just can't bring myself to do this formal introduction. But Dr. Sidor is a Harvard trained and Columbia trained quadruple board certified psychiatrist. He's an executive coach and thought leader in human potential and systems transformation. He founded this organization called Sweet Institute and medical director at Urban Pathways, where he leads innovative initiatives at the intersection of belief systems, behavioral health, and leadership. He is the author of The Power of Belief, which this conversation is anchored in. And The Power of Belief is available on Amazon and on his website. It is How Ideas Shape Leaders, Nations, and the Future, a groundbreaking book exploring how beliefs drive outcomes in leadership, culture, and change. And this morning, we have Dr. Mardoche Sidor exploring the nooks and crannies of his book inside of this question: how to uncover the hidden beliefs driving your success or your failure. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mardoche Sidor, my good friend. How are you?
Great. Thank you, Saurel. Thank you for having me. I'm pleased to be here. Hello, everyone listening. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, and in this thing about belief, and we were talking the other day, and I wanted to know, and I'd love for you to express to the world, why now? Why this book? And why you writing it?
Thank you. Thank you, Saurel. Indeed. I will just take a step back and say mechanism matters. And in order for us to do anything, we ought to understand how things work. And what is better to understand its mechanism other than the brain, understanding how our brain work. And when I say that, because if I want to go somewhere, we want to go somewhere, we ought to know where we want to go. And to know where we want to go, we need to know where we are. And in order for me to know where I am, I need to understand the beliefs that got me where I am right now. And as I understand those beliefs, I need to ask myself the question, are those serving me? Which ones are serving me and which ones are not? And all this is rooted in understanding how the brain works.
Yeah, so now I know quadruple doctorate, right? But without diving into it too deep, what would you say about the brain to illuminate for us how it works with respect to beliefs and their impact on relationships and leadership?
Very good. Thank you, Saurel. It has to do with what we call the belief identity pathways, because my belief determines my attitude, what Carol Dwein at Stanford calls mindset, growth mindset, or fixed mindset. And my attitude there, which is determined by my belief, will determine my perception, how I perceive things. And this is what determines the meaning I give to things, what I hear, what someone says, what happens. And that meaning shapes my focus. what I focus on, how I focus on it, which then comes up with all those associated thoughts and feelings, emotions. Emotion itself means to emote, move, right? There's movement and behavior. And those behaviors over and over lead to my habits. And yes, the habits create my results and and identity, and the loop starts all over again. As such, unless I take a step back to understand how belief truly drives the show, I am stuck in that vicious cycle, and the life won't really work unless I take a step back and look at those beliefs that have been shaping my life.
Yeah. So when you take that step back, so you've just walked us through how the brain, my brain, your brain, anybody's brain actually creates beliefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So suffice it to say, if you're a human being, your brain's at work doing just that. And it does it automatically, doesn't need you. So you said earlier, it would behoove us to actually ask, what is it that I believe that have me here?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say here, it's like it gives me the life I have, it gives me the business I run, it gives me the relationships I have and how they work and all of that. So tell us a little bit about that question.
Mm-hmm.
What
Indeed. Yeah, go ahead, Saurel.
Yeah, what is it does one believe, and how do you begin to connect to that and say it to yourself in a way that leaves you really present to what you believe now that has you here?
Yes, indeed, indeed. Now, you see, there is that man, Sigmund Freud, who spoke about the topographical model, right? Or we do things at the conscious level. There's the pre-conscious mind, right, part of the brain, and then there is the unconscious layer, right, of the brain. Then there is that fourth layer, which is the existential layer. And unfortunately, many times there is that gap. There is that gap between what I know and what I do. That's number one. But number two, there is that gap between what I say and what really, how it really, what is the outcome. And part of that has to do with the different layers. It does start with asking, what are my beliefs? What are the beliefs that got me to where I am right now? And once I realize, I become aware of those beliefs, then I need to not force or fight those beliefs. I need to go back to the science and the brain. The best way to make a change is through the process of substitution. And that substitution method, that substitution process entails choosing, me asking myself, what beliefs do I want to replace those old beliefs with? Instead of fighting those old beliefs, I'm going to work with some new beliefs. And yes, those new beliefs, I am now going to work with them, but I need to work with them in a way that's regular, consistent, with enough intensity, using all my senses, with enough for sustainability. But once again, for that to happen, I need to take attention to all those different roadblocks. And that's why one layer that can be very helpful is the existential layer that has to do with responsibility, that has to do with choice, that has to do with my ability to understand that my brain is not truly reacting to what's happening in the world. Rather, my brain is projecting, is predicting what I am going to be doing based on past experiences. When I understand that this is how my brain works, then it becomes easier for me to work with those new beliefs that I am creating for myself.
So conceptually speaking, we get the whole flow, right? But if you don't mind, I'd love to make it a little personal.
Yes.
So what if we used you as an example? When you ask yourself that question, what is it that I believe that had me where I am now? I'm imagining that there is a point where you asked yourself that question and answered it. And can you take us through that?
Very,
What
very.
is it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So in terms of belief, for me, there is the idea of when I ask myself that question, I often go through those different areas of life. I like to see myself in the area of health, the area of relationship with others, relationship with myself, in the area of career or calling, finances, self-expression, and contribution. As I look at each of those 7 areas, I understand that every single result I have in each and of those areas it has to do with my belief. And I am going to choose, okay, which one of those areas I definitely need to look at. Let's say I want to look at my health. And I would say, what do I believe in these areas that really have led to where I am right now? And when I look at those areas, one area I have to say that is very important is, wait a minute. So I actually want to exercise every morning. And that's important because we know that lifestyle changes truly matter, even including when it comes to emotional, mental, physical health. If we take a look at lifestyle changes, those will make a huge difference. But there are a number of beliefs I personally realized, Saurel, that really were getting in the way. And what is that belief? So in the area of health, I look at, okay, I want to exercise every morning. And but when actually would go to bed at 2 a.m. because I had to finish that report, I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. And what was the belief? The belief was, I am feeling tired, therefore I am tired. Now, intellectually, I know this is called emotional reasoning, which is my feelings are facts. But I just bought into it. I just believe that whatever I am feeling right now, that's what's happening. But the moment I will, oh, that's the belief that's driving the show, then I was able to choose, what do I want to believe instead? And I decided to believe, wait, my feelings are just what I am feeling right now, but my feelings are not facts. I believe that I can choose to do what I want to do despite my what I feel. And that really shifted things around. Repeating it, reminding myself of that. So that's a personal example of how I've used belief.
Yeah. And you know, I was expecting you to say another belief, but what I got from what you were just saying is that, oh, I have a feeling, I run with it in that moment. That's what I'm believing. And if I can catch myself in that moment, then I can deliberately substitute a new belief.
Yeah.
And then that's where the agency comes into play when you talked about at the existential layer, being responsible. It's like, well, now that I've said I believe X instead, I now take the responsibility to act accordingly.
That is
Right.
correct.
So let's pause for a moment. I'd love for Gio to come on in for a little bit and poke around a little bit and see, what else we could create inside of this conversation. It's really juicy. Thank you, Mardoche.
So there was a moment I missed the conversation about the existential. You're mentioning something about existential belief.
Existential layer.
Existential layer. I missed that conversation, so I'm having a hard time putting the puzzle together.
Yeah.
So can we go back to that a little bit first? What
Yeah.
does that mean? Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Mardoche.
Yeah. So Giovanni, in order for any So let me just take a step back. You see, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of learning, a lot of notes, but there is that gap, as we know, between what we know and what we actually do. And even when part of that is how the information is truly absorbed. And
what I know that I want to achieve,
yes,
what I know I need to do to achieve that,
yes,
and then there is what I actually do.
exactly.
There's a gap. Okay.
Exactly. There's a gap. And part of that is because often enough, that information it stays at the intellectual level as opposed to the experiential level, right? So that's number one. But even when it's experientially it's experiential, there's still a lack of behavior activation getting started, right? Now, getting started takes place at the conscious level, right? So what I do, and then I need to do it on a regular basis. I need to do it regularly and with enough consistency. But then there is progress. Unfortunately, there is the idea of the pre-conscious layer of the mind where core beliefs are hidden. And those core beliefs, unless they are dealt with, many people they lose weight and then in 2 years they get it that they get the weight all back again. So that's really part of what's going on. That preconscious layer is not being addressed. And then really even deeper, there is the unconscious layer, that idea of 97 to 99% of our world, of our decisions truly are driven by the unconscious layer. Having said that, the existential layer can be seen as both a deeper layer, but also a true bypass. Why? Because the existential layer is where we know that there is the idea of choice. So there's a lot of theory of the choice theory where there is the concept of responsibility. Because I am responsible, then I now can relate differently to the different phenomena. I can relate differently to my past. I can relate differently to even those unconscious beliefs, relating differently from them. Then therefore help me understand that I get to choose how to respond. Why? Because when I respond to something, I reinforce it. This is one of the three ways we learn overall, right? In cognitive neuroscience, we learn through association, or through reinforcement, or through social modeling. Every time I feel tired in the morning and I just give into it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm tired, I'm just gonna sleep. I make it easier for me to continue to sleep every morning when I wake up instead of going to the gym. But the existential layer says, wait a minute, I'm responsible to choose right now, regardless of how I feel, regardless of what happened yesterday, regardless of what time I went to bed last night. Then I am helping my brain to relearn. So to unlearn, that's education. Education is the process of unlearning, relearning, and embodying that learning and continuous learning. So that existential layer gives everyone that opportunity to truly bypass a number of those obstacles. And as Saurel says earlier, the moment I choose a new belief, I now have a different access to relate to that belief and work with that belief so that belief becomes the norm. Because once again, the belief is driving the show, from attitude to perception, from meaning to focus, from associated thoughts to feelings and behavior and habits. But to stop that loop, to really get different results, I need to really start with a different set of belief.
Okay, kind of sort of understood all of that, but not because you didn't say it right, but because there is a plethora of context you already are managing for so many years that has all that make all sense. So it's quite abstract. It's very abstract, the opportunity of the conversation. So let's take a core belief, I believe, that that we all have, right? What would you say? It's a core belief that most people are overcoming in achieving what they want in life, great relationships, success. What would you say it's a core belief that is at the pre-conscious or at the unconscious level?
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you. So one belief that we encounter in very different ways of expression is I am my past.
But
And
people don't say that. People never say that. That's
people,
also very abstract. I am my past. Nobody says that necessarily. After being with you for a while, they can say it. People would say, I'm not enough. And even that one is still actually abstract. What I don't think I can do it. And they say, I don't think I have time. That's what most
yeah.
people would say on a regular basis.
Yeah. And so I love where you're going, Giovanni, because this is the reason why, unfortunately, it starts with awareness. What people say is totally different from what is really driving the show, right?
Yes.
And what people says means almost nothing compares to what really is behind what they are saying. So for example, when I say I don't have time, well, this is related to a scarcity mindset. There is
Or or I'm too old. I can't do it anymore. I'm
very
too old.
good. Very good. Oh, I'm too
I don't
old.
have time anymore.
Oh, I don't, yes. And that actually, even when it may sound
Oh,
concrete,
the one that I say, Dr. Sidor, is I don't have the body for that anymore.
yes.
Right,
Yes.
right. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. And as I said earlier, the brain works through associations. And that's why when we actually teach, for example, either medical students or residents or the clinicians, we tell them, listen with the third ear. Listen with what's not being said. Why? Because saying I don't have time, as you said, may mean so many things, and therefore you need to go beyond what they're really saying. What they're really saying is that mindset, is that belief, and it's all rooted to the experience with the past, right? And for example, that's why there is a belief where indeed people may think that they don't have time, but then not having time is related to a scarcity mindset, is related to a belief, but then that scarcity mindset is not just about time. It's also about many other things. And part of that has to do with how they actually have been relating to different things, to a number of things, including the past. Now, you also mentioned the idea of I'm not good enough. And it's true, some people may not even say I'm not good enough, but how they behave in terms of, or whether, let's say, whether I raise my hands or whether I speak up or whether I actually send that email, and we actually let me before I finish that idea, let me take a step back. In CBT, that's something that most people can relate to, which is cognitive behavior therapy. The tenet of CBT is our perception of a situation, and not the situation itself, determines the feelings and behaviors that follow. So I said that to go back to the idea of I don't have time. Many people, many times when I say I don't have time, I'm actually saying that in a context of a situation, and which means I'm perceiving that situation a certain way. But then there is a belief underneath that perception, because behind that perception, underneath that perception, there's a mindset, that's scarcity mindset, and underneath that mindset, there's that belief, the belief that indeed, oh, that is rooted in the past, where I never can do this. It doesn't matter what I do. It actually won't be. I will never be able to do it the way I need to do it based on the past. I think I don't know whether that really helps, or even maybe makes it a little bit more confusing. But I like the confusion, because confusion is really how we start learning, for sure. So let's keep it going, and to
It's just
clarify it
don't
further.
give up, right? Don't give up on the
Yes,
conversation. Now, here's
yes.
how I want to kind of sort of wrap it up for the opportunity of the conversation in this context, Dr. Sidor. So we're about to face significant labor transfer in the world given artificial intelligence, and hundreds of thousands of jobs are going to move from one way of doing business to another way of doing business, and industries are going to be revealed. New industries are going to be revealed. So then there is hundreds of thousands of millions of people with a particular fear right now for, what am I going to do? Like, oh my goodness, processes are going to be shortened. There's less need for people. And that's very real. That's really, really real. It's like at some point there were, what do you call it? Horses that were carrying people, and eventually cars came along, and that entire industry got disappeared. But a whole new industry started. So then there is the people like myself who are thinking, holy macaroni, my job's going to go away, right? My industry might go away. I wasn't excellent at my job. Anyone could do it, so that's probably going to is going to get automated by technology. So at that point, there's this opportunity that you're presenting here for me. There's an opportunity to reinvent myself. And millions of people are going to have that opportunity to reinvent themselves through innovation and listening to the marketplace, listening what's needed, supporting small businesses rather than a large corporation. There's an opportunity to reinvent ourselves. But we say, or many of us will say, I don't have time. I'm not that good. I can't reinvent myself. I don't know how to learn something new. I hate technology. So we will put ourselves in that kind of mindset that will prevents us from seizing the new opportunity. So having said all of that, coaches can say, like, let's say something in the context that you are creating, what to say, what to ask ourselves, how to get ourselves out of that, how to get ourselves out of that place so that we can create a new direction. And you can say it all wrong. I'll just take notes.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. Now, a few things. The first one is, as it may feel so overwhelming. And one of the reasons why it feels so overwhelming is because I believe that I have to do it all at once. And that's where the neuroscience of the law of little things starts, right? They said, okay, I need to believe that a journey of 10,000 miles starts with one step, right? As Martin Luther King says, take the first stairs. You don't have to see the whole staircase, take the first one. So the law of little things, right? That's where we start. So what are the different the things I need to do, and then I start one and then add the next one. That's the first one, right? The second one, there's a belief that I have to do it all along, all by myself, right? But when I remember that there is this Huddle, there is Saurel, there's Giovanni, there are people, then I can now go and reach out. right? And so this is where, as you said, beliefs that we may not be even paying attention to are getting in the way, are driving the show. But when we take a step back and truly think about, okay, this is what I want to do. What do I believe about this right now? And how much is this belief serving me? And what do I want to replace this belief with? And then I realize that, oh, I don't have to do it all by myself. It doesn't have to be done all along. And the other belief is by one of my best scientists ever, Einstein, when he says the most important decision we make is whether we live in a hostile or in a friendly universe. That is a belief that actually will help me determine, as you said, Giovanni, whether all those changes are an opportunity or not. And if I believe that, if I make the decision to believe, that's where we're back to existential. I'm responsible to choose, and I make the decision that I choose to believe that I live in a friendly universe, then I'm going to believe that, as we say in CBT, our perception of a situation, not the situation itself, will determine what I do. Therefore, I can just change. I can ask myself the question, how can I perceive this in a way that will help me take the action to get me to where I want to go, right? Because one of the best existential therapists is the neurologist and psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, the author of Man's Search for Meaning, right? He says between a stimulus, right, what's going on right now, the change, and a response, what I do about it, there's a space. And in that space is where I get to choose the belief, the meaning, right? And that choice is truly what determines, okay, step by step, whom do I reach out to? What belief is getting in the way? What belief I want to substitute with? And then how do I then work with the next belief, with the next belief, with the next belief? But that would be my answer to that. Let me know if that
I
helps.
love that. I love that. I know I can keep running with that, Saurel. Thank you for letting
Oh
me
my God, it's
be in the
just perfect,
conversation.
right? Gio, you think we have time for a couple of questions? I'd love to hear what people are thinking and what people are taking away, or any questions you may have for Dr. Sidor. Who has a question?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. And then we wrap up.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mary Pat.
It's actually kind of a like an observation for myself, okay? And what I'm hearing is my relationship to humanity and what this world is all about is going to be a determining factor of whether I have the time, the money, the age, whatever it is, to contribute to that humanity. And for me, what's over here is my contribution is greater than all the stops. And I'm stopped in a lot of places. I'm stopped in technology, but not totally. I mean, I'm here on this call this morning and I have this fancy background behind me. So I'm not totally stopped. And there's a space where I had to choose. Am I going to move forward in my world of transformation for the universe? Or am I going to be stopped by anything that's there, whether it's time or money or technology, whatever it is? So what I'm hearing is relationship to whatever you're dealing with is really a key. And that may just be what I heard over here. So thank you for all of this. I mean, you've given me like, woo, let's go. What are we waiting on?
Thank you, Mary Pat. I like that. And that relationship is all, again, driven by beliefs, many of which are hidden, we're not even aware of.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Mardoche, you're leaving us in this place. It's this place where, God, man, why do I have to be responsible? So at the risk of boiling it down to something too simple, I'm going to do it anyway. There is a fundamental belief that stops me and perhaps stops all of us. It's the belief that I don't have a choice in the matter.
Mm.
That's what I'm hearing you say.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is the conscious layer where I say, yeah, I want to do that. And then I bump up against the pre-conscious layer where the core belief exists.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I know this, and that I know that at some other place I have the agency to choose, and that if I'm here and I'm stuck, then it must be because I didn't choose.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't choose is to believe something else.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't choose is to act according to the new belief I created. And that's what I'm left with. And I love you and I hate you at the same time.
I love you, brother. That's really phenomenal.
So, Mardoche, what is the parting word you want to leave the world with?
Thank you, Saurel. I would say believe and choose to believe again and again and again.
Now, you didn't say what to believe in.
Choose to
That's a
believe.
matter of choice. I got it. Thank you, Mardoche. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for being someone who commits your life to making the world a better place by first choosing to believe such that your life can be that way. And secondly, by teaching others to believe so that the world can be a better place. I love you, my friend.
Thank you. I love you so much.
And today, this way, we're here every Monday, folks. This is the Impact, the Leadership Huddle, hosted by Giovanni Gonzalez, myself. Streams live on YouTube. Go catch it there if you missed this one. We'll end with 7 or 8 tenets, very succinctly. Love, laugh, stress less, eat such that your body thanks you for it, sleep, move, and check yourself, because your beliefs aren't static. They're up for you to make. I love you. Giovanni loves you more. Until next Monday.